Dave here. How are you? I'm a little bit distracted this morning. The dog is in here with me and she just doesn't want to leave. Can someone let me know if the stream's happening okay? I have sound. I have the microphone working. I've got no idea why it decided to start working and why it didn't work last week. There you go. What do you, come here. Look, this stupid dog is here. You gonna say hello? No, don't annoy me. Get down. Get down. There we go. I'll just click this button over here so we can see what's happening with the rest of the chat. Morning all. I'm presuming it's coming through. Yes, excellent. Thanks, Michael. Stop it. She's biting my leg. Can you believe it? I think you need to go outside. Oh, she's going to be with me. Anyway, today the show is about these guys here that I've got on the bench. She's really annoying me. Get out of it. Give me a second. I'm just going to punch this thing out. You post that. Done. All right. Dave here. How are you? Let me start that again. She's madly scratching at the back of my leg here. No, get out. Come on. Go and lie down. All right. Plane blades and angles and all of that kind of stuff is what I'm really going to try and get through today. I trust everyone's had a good week. I've down this end of the workshop because this is more traditional tools down this end. So I've got the Turner hand plane display up there, which, you know, these things are just beautiful. Nice raspberry cellulose acetate handles. I've got a low angle number 5. I've got my standard jointing plane, which is one that I made. And I've also got a Stanley number 12, which is basically a scraper plane. So you could call it a cabinet scraper. A lot of people, this carries a card scraper in it. That's all it is. It's just a carriage for that. That's for cranky grain. I'll go through that right at the beginning. Low angle is for end grain or grain that an ordinary 45-degree standard angle plane is not going to work on. So sometimes it's really good on cranky grain as well, but most of the time you try and get it with something that's a very steep angle, and that's what we're going to do today as well. I'm going to utilize this plane and I'm going to create a second blade for it that I did say in the promotional for this video that it was going to be a 50 degree. I'm going to do it at 45 degrees. The blade in there is at 25 degrees. So I'm increasing the angle of the bevel. So let's say this is the bottom of the back of the blade, like so. I'm going to go from 25 up to 45. Now the steeper angle on the low angle block plane, on the low angle number 5, that bed is I think around 12 degrees. That's sitting in. You can hardly even see the plane blade in there. So 12 plus 25 gives you 37, I think, would be the angle right down there on the bevel. Okay, so that's that part there. The steeper angle, another 20 degrees, is going to take it up to 57 degrees. So that's steeper than a 45 degree angle. It's easier to see it on this one. See this, the frog on this, which is what the blade is sitting on, is 45 degrees. When you've got the blades in these planes, the bevel is facing down. So it doesn't matter what angle I sharpen that blade to in this particular plane, it's still going to be 45 degrees. Always going to be 45 degrees. It's really only on low angle planes because they always have their bevel up. I'll take it out and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Save a lot of mucking around. That's how it came out of the plane, out of the body of the plane. And see the top section here, the nice shiny part that I've sharpened, is bevel up. In all of my standard planes, it's that way up, like so. Okay, now there's a couple of things I need to address from previous shows that people have said. Dave Monet said to me, Dave, I think you don't not need to sharpen all or flatten all the back of the chisel before you put the bevel on and sharpen the angle. And ordinarily, yeah, if it's a chisel that I don't want to use for paring at all, that's fine. If I have the chisel up a little bit and I'm just basically chopping into stuff, that will work. But with a chisel, it's always best to try and get all of the back flat. With a plain blade, you don't have to. And you can see on this, I've been working on the top section, not so much on the back, because this part here, ordinarily, is going to be up here. It doesn't have to, as it's going along doing the cut, it doesn't have to reference off the piece of timber that I'm paring. I've just got to make sure I don't cut myself there. If I'm going, I'm not doing that with it, I'm up at an angle. So it's really only where these two faces come together that's got to be really, really nice and polished. Now I'll show you a trick that a few people do, and it makes it a whole lot easier. It involves a steel rule, or you can use anything, just as long as it's only around about 1 or 2 millimeters thick, to raise the back of the blade up whilst you're sharpening. I've got to keep my eye on what she's eating here. Get out of it! Rotten thing. She's getting under the covers, she's dragging things out. She was running around with one of the adjustment knobs on the for the bench a little earlier, running around with it. She's looking at me as though it's, what's wrong? I'm totally innocent. Okay, so that's how we're going to work with that one. The tuning, it's really not hard to tune a hand plane. The main thing, the really, really main thing, is to get all of this dead flat. Now there are things called lapping plates that you can use that have got a coarse grit. There's granite surface plates that have got, you can put a compound on if you wanted to. You can use float glass like I do. So my chunk of float glass over here, as I said, is probably 10 millimeters thick. And I have different grade papers around it. And on the back, I've got different grade, wet and dry, from 600 through to 2000. And because this is dead flat and don't have any of the paper sitting up at all, like towards the end, let me see if I can show you a piece on the back here that has started to release. Can you see that? Because it's sitting up, as the plane body, the sole of the plane is going over that, it's pushing the paper down. So as it's pushing the paper down flat again, it's actually wearing the front of the nose of the plane, or the toe of the plane. She's going to drive me crazy, this silly dog. So is that making any sense to everyone? I don't want to go too fast with this. I know we've covered sharpening over the last 3 episodes, and you might be getting a little bit bored with it. But there's a couple of things here that I thought, well, I'd missed, because it was all about chisels and basically, basic technique to use surfaces that are an abrasive to create a nice shiny finish in the long run, and also to shape these things here. Sorry, I've got to chase her out. Get out of it. I thought it might be a good idea just to let her hang out with me, but maybe not. All right, so even my trying plane. Now this is Arthur's, so you remember this guy behind me here? This guy here? It's my great-grandfather and his bench, and this is one of his planes. This is a trying plane, and it's beautiful, and it has a sole that is a different type of timber to the body of the plane. Little things like that. Description of what Dave's talking about, so you can read it after the show. Just search dictum plane angle sharpening and scroll towards bottom of... Okay. You can put the URL later on, Kiwi 007, in the comments after the show. Normally, links don't work in the chat section. Wait, you know what they say about working with kids and animals? Yes, she's sitting down there. Butter wouldn't melt in your mouth, would it, darling? Come on, you come up and say hello to everyone. Right? She's actually, this may not be everyone's cup of tea, having a pug on the show. Can you see everyone here? Look. Can you see everyone? Can you see yourself in the... She doesn't really care, does she? Oh, God. It's tragic. She's growing on me every day. It's just... Well, I know I'm headed for a massive fall in another 13 or 14 years when I lose her as well. Anyway, Vicky's dog, her problem. Or so they said. All right, next thing we're going to do is have a look at actually changing the angle. So this one here, as I said, is, they're the same plate. And you might see I've already started, if I put my hand behind it, don't know if you can see that or not. If I turn them back to back like that, you can see this one, I've already started on 45, and this one at the back is 22 and a half, or 25, whatever it is. She has grown, hasn't she? So you can see that's the different incline. Now this is for working on end grain. So if you've got a shooting board that you want to use for trimming up the end grain or on miter joints and things like that, perfect, absolutely perfect. Or you could use a little block plane. A lot of people get a block plane. Now block planes come in a standard and also low angle as well. The best way to see how they look is actually walk into a store and get them out of the box, compare them side by side and say, you know, this is possibly, I need the low angle, not the standard. The standard is a little bit more versatile. Yeah, I know. It's a bit sad, really, isn't it? They're making comment about the dog. She's still there. She's eating shavings now. What do you do? All right, so I'm going to switch the cameras over. We're going to jump onto the Sorby Pro Edge and keep on working on this. I've nearly got it all the way to being 45. You can see that shiny part is the previous grind. Now, it doesn't really matter. It really doesn't matter if I grind that all the way back to the points. That's 45 right across the whole bevel, because up the top here isn't really doing anything. So this is just for explanation as to how I'm doing it. Down here is the part. So this is 60 grit so far. I'm going to take it down to 3000. You may get a little bit bored with this part, so I'm guessing the chat can jump in and save everyone from dying of boredom. Or you can you can keep watching, and maybe I'll get something further down the track where the dog has her own camera. We'll call it Nessie Cam or something. All right, I'm going to switch the cameras over to the other side, hopefully. I don't know if this one will look all right. No, let's go to this one. All right, so you can see I've got the camera already set up here, and I've got some water there and also some paper towel. I don't endorse dunking blades into water, but we're not getting it very hot. Not getting it too hot at all. And I'm also going to touch up the blade, my PMV11, which is powdered metal blade from my hand plane that I built. So first thing I'm going to do is release this and rotate it around to the 45-degree lug, which the front here tells me it's 1, 2, 3, 4 down. 1, 2, 3, 4 down, which is correct. So now I'm at 45 degrees. I like using this. I don't know what it is about it. It's just nice and solid when I'm sharpening blades. This thing is possibly the most square, the squarest of them all. And okay, yeah, doggy cam. See, I don't know if you can see that angle there. I may bring this around just a little bit further. Is that any better to see it? She'll probably run out of the building when I turn this on. A little bit of noise, so it's not going to be horribly loud, but if you want to just turn your volume down a little bit, it's up to you. You can see we're moving on quite well. One of the things I was going to say is with this particular machine, do not put all of your weight down on this because you will deflect that arm. I try and keep my finger around there and on that, and then it assists in moving. This finger is just holding it in position, and this finger here is helping on the stroke backwards across the belt. My thumb, I don't know if you can see my thumb there, and this finger are holding it as well. It's all about support to keep it at the right angle. The dog is watching so intently. All right, I'm going to do a little bit more. He's just ran away then. Not too bad. Turn her off. That's going to be good enough for me. I'm going to give it a quick drink. It's not really hot, but anyway, I thought I'd do it. Now, I have a burr on the back, and I'm going to leave that burr there at the moment. What I am going to do is get the square. Give me a second. The reason also, it's very, very important, particularly with a low angle blade or a low angle plane, particularly this one, that's got no adjustment down here for the angle left and right to adjust how the blade is here. So it's got to come out of there dead square. That's with this particular one, and the blade is here. So let's have a look. I'm going to turn it around this way so you can watch it coming down. The magnets on there, caught it. Something I hadn't accounted for, is it? Okay, so here we go. Now that's pretty damn fine. I'm really happy with that. I've got about 1 millimeter above at both ends. I've got it like that so you can actually see it. There we go. Bring it down a little bit further, and it's just catching the burr now. So with these things, it really does depend on how much effort you put down. So I can push that, and it's going to change the angle to the belt. So don't push down too hard on that. All right, let's change the belt and go to a 120. So that was a 60 ceramic. I'm using a ceramic belt this week. Peter Woolworth made comment last week that the ceramics really are the best, and I've got to agree with him. The other one that I used last week was an aluminium oxide, I think. And again, these things have got a direction. By dunking, let me have a look in water. Doesn't that take temper out of the metal and weaken it? Not really, Harry. It's not getting to enough temperature to affect it at all. You know, if it was red hot and glowing, well, that's a different story. That's a different story totally. Put the guard back on. Put it this way. Keeping the blade cool is a whole lot more comfortable for you. Can you see the dog down there? Look. She's into things while I'm trying to do this stuff. Hey, hey. I don't know. Kids and dogs, eh? Doggy, sorry, didn't stop me. All right, so now I've got it at 60. Oh, sorry, 120. We'll run it through there as well. And you can see all the scratching on it at the moment. Let's see if I can get it. This is very hard because I'm looking over my shoulder to show you what the blade is looking like. All right, now I'm going to turn it back on. Leave the tripod alone, Nessie. See, for 120, that's done. That's removed the 60 grit marks. Next, we're going to go to 240. 240 on it. I only have the aluminium oxide in the 240. Again, the same direction as the arrows. I don't even know if they make a ceramic belt. If you know whether they make a ceramic belt for 240, let me know. Put a comment in the chat. All right, a noise again. That's looking pretty good. Give it a quick dunk. All right, next one. Oh, I didn't put the blade guard on, or the belt guard. Sorry. Next one, we're going to go to a Trizact 600. And there's no direction on the Trizact belts. There's a block pattern that works as it's supposed to. I'm surprised I didn't have anyone jump in the chat there. So you didn't put the blade guard or the guard back on. Water softens metal and dipping in oil hardens metal. But Dave's right, to be glowing hot to take effect. Okay, thanks, Ray. Thank you very much for that. Makes me feel as though I'm not telling you pork pies. Okay, so we're up to 240 on that now. I'm going to take it down to 600. Now this one will get hot quickly, so I've just got to be cautious. I'll give it a quick drink, and then back on the belt. Now look at that. Can you see that already? How quickly it's gone from being, you know, a rough as guts finish, but the grind was there, the angle was there, and you could see all the marks on the slots from the abrasive, down to something that's really getting close to being a mirror finish. The 600 isn't going to be the mirror. We're going to go to, excuse me, Nancy. Next one is going to be 2000. Oh, sorry, not 2000. We'll go to 1200. I'm pretty sure. Yep. A16 is 1200. It's a little bit of a revision from what we were doing with the chisels, but this is pretty good. It's a little bit different, but the same, if I can say that. All right. Go back to this one. That's what it was like. Now this one's going to warm it up real quick. Give it a drink. You can see the evaporation on it just there. Oh, it's just so nice. I've got to work it a little bit more. It's starting to be evident as to the areas that didn't come off totally. Oh, that's better. That's polished it out. Beautiful. Wait for it to stop, of course. Oh, the lights have gone out. I forgot to fix that, didn't I? Give me a second. I'm going to flick turn the lights off and on, and that'll lock the auto sensor on. So it's going to go dark again. There we go. That should lock them on. Here's hoping. Here's hoping. Sorry about that. I got a quick read. What's the belt called? The 600 grit. It's a Trizact belt. Trisact, I think it is. Tim. Morning, Ash. How are you? Those things that came out of the pressure cooker looked fantastic. Tell Ben they looked lovely. All right, we're going to remove this. Yeah, who thought it would be a good idea to have the dog in here today? I don't know. Okay, so these are the Trizact belts are a 3M belt, manufactured by 3M, but sold via Robert Sorby's, I think. You can, if you're in Australia, you can get them through Carbotech. If you want to grab them from Carbotech, there is links in the description box down bottom below the video area here, and I do make comment that I am an affiliate. So I do get a benefit from it. It doesn't cost you any more, but it does help the show. All right, this is 2000. Quick drink. And turn it off. I don't know if you can see that. It's reflecting big time all over the place. So we're going to come over here now to, you know what, I'm an idiot. No, I'm not an idiot. I thought I was, but I was mistaken. Well, maybe I am, but the reason I said that was because I should have taken the blade out of this and also touched it up on the saw at the same time, but it was a different angle. So I have redeemed myself. I'm okay. All right. Sorry, more quickly than oil. Hold on. On type of metal, some require oil, some water. Tool steel is mostly hardened with oil. Andrew, when I did my engineering training, I was taught that water quenches more quickly than water. Oil. Water quenches more quickly than water? The oil, and you've got oil and water around the wrong way. Ash, thanks, David. I'll be pulling that one out I made yesterday. After today, I'll post the results. It'd be great to see, Ash. Had no idea they made sanding belts at that higher grits. Awesome. Peter, no, the cooler you keep the blade, the better. The grain structure only changed about 180 degrees. A good guide, no color, no change. And tempo, it does change. I'm going to leave you guys in the chat to make all those calls. I'm just, walk away. I'm not going to make any comment there. I know for me it works. And the end result is I have a sharp blade. Sharp is sharp, and it holds the sharpness for quite a while. All right, so I'm going to take the burr off. There's only a little burr there. So I'm going to take that burr off with some 2000. I don't need to go any more than that. And I'll show you the trick as well. Get these out of here. And that and that. And I'll get a steel ruler, because I said I was going to do that kind of stuff. Let's see if I've got a short one kicking around here anywhere. I don't have a short ruler, but I do have a longer steel ruler. I'll bring that down. I should have really prepared that part. So I'm going to go straight to 2000. And how do I know the 2000? Because when I put these on, that 600 is written on that one, 1000 on there, 1500 on here, and I can't see under this one, but I know that I did them in a pattern. So this one closest to me is 2000. Move these guys out of the way. The dog is still trying to attract my attention. Oh dear. And again, this little bit of draw liner that I just get from Aldi, I put at the front because my rubber strips on the Stanton bench don't come all the way to the front on purpose. There we go. Lovely. You know, when you're driving and you've got the kids in the back, and are we there yet? Are we there? That's what's happening down here. It's just looking at me. When are we going to go outside so I can chase all the wildlife, eat lizards and things? Okay, I'll spin this camera around so you can see what I'm doing a little bit closer. Might work better for you. So those Trizact belts are basically designed for this particular machine. I think if that's about there, let's see if that's going to work for you. The other camera. That's not bad. Has everyone been tuning in to watch Cole Hosey in the morning? He comes on an hour before me on his stream. I've been giving him a bit of a hand to get sorted and get the stream running well. He's a wealth of information, absolute wealth of information. You Do yourself a favor and watch. I'm going to switch the cameras. And this one. So you can see here I've got 2000 grit paper on there. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the burr off the back. So remember on the front, that's pretty much finished. How nice is that for a belt sander? Make your workshop dog proof. Okay. Paul, thank you, David. I'm guessing you've said thank you to someone else there. Very good this morning. He was. Okay, only a little bit there to get rid of the burr. And it's gone. Totally gone. Now what we're going to do is we're going to lift the back of the blade up a little bit, but I want it to be lifted in a regular manner. So I'm going to put a steel rule on the edge of my wet and dry, like so. I'm going to put the blade down there. So it's being lifted about 2 millimeters at the back, and it's going to concentrate all of this sharpening. And I have dog assist here at the moment to the back, and you don't have to do it much. And lift. I don't know if you can see that tiny micro bevel there or not. I'll get the paper and dry the thing off. And also a lot of people like to wear gloves when they're doing this part. Let's see if I can focus it on that micro bevel. It's only so very, very small. You may not see it. So you know how they say micro bevels on this side? Well, this is just the tiniest one on there. I'm going to have a quick feel. That's pretty sharp. All right, now I'm going to take it off there and run it over my strop. Move that out of the way. Oh, I've got a little sad face there. Good morning all. Sorry I'm late. Had a phone meltdown. Would not play the show. Off to the corner for me. Oh, you're liking it, Mike? It's really, really good. There's so much information coming out from Colin. He's doing it all for free. Now, one of the other things I was going to say when tuning a plane blade is try and round the corners off a little bit, only a fraction, and that stops having a sharp edge in creating a trench when you're using the plane. She's very distracted. Can you see her? What have you got? That's my draw liner you got there. Nessie. You're a bad dog. All right. The strop. Now we're not going to do too much with this because we don't want to roll the bevel over. Pulling it back, I don't have to do any more. I don't have to lift it as I'm pulling it back because I need that. She's got, lucky I've got another one here. Because the leather has give. So as I'm pulling this back along, the leather is actually pulling up that tiny little bit and it's going to polish. I don't have to lift this while I'm doing this part. Bring it over near the edge. Now, doing this part, remember, we need to get it up to the angle. Can you see it there? And then moving with, I'll do a couple of strokes here. You see that? Not looking too foul. So I'm going to switch the cameras back over here again because I want to show you the how I'm doing this. So you get it so that it's just nice the blade is parallel, the bevel is parallel to the surface. And you don't do this. Don't pull it like that because you're going to roll the edge. You need to move back as one motion. So my shoulders and my arms and everything are fine. I'm doing all of this with my knees. It makes a big difference. That liner is history. I'm going to pull it ever so slightly above the 45 degrees, ever so slightly, to put another micro bevel on it. And I can actually see that. Let's, oh, you're not going to see it there, are you? That is scary sharp at 45 degrees. I'll go back to the other camera and you can have a quick look at that micro bevel that we just put on this one. Wait for it. See it across the edge? There. There you go. Bends the knees. And whilst I'm doing this, I'm not putting any pressure. I'm just very gently touching it. So we're going to see the paper test. Need to get some paper. And back to here. I have a run sheet here somewhere. And one of the reasons I've got the run sheet is I wanted to tell you guys about a person who did some labouring for me the other day. It's unbelievable. We didn't know him. He was recommended to us. So this is in the Blue Mountains. He lives in Edgecliff, down in Sydney. Now it's a long way away. He caught a train, and I said 9 o'clock, no skid pad. I said 9 o'clock. I'll see you at my place. He said, yeah. I expect him to arrive in a car. He was sitting up the front, waiting. Had his pack with him with water and all the stuff he needed for the day. His name is Travis, and he worked relentlessly all day, did not stop. Now I'll give you an idea, tell you what we did. You'll notice a little while ago on social media I put a photo of a dingo, my dingo, which is the little front end loader, skid loader, tiny little thing that I've got, full of mulch. Now I had 15 cubic metres of mulch. That's a fair bit of hardwood mulch up the front. And it's a steep block, and there's stairs down into the property from up on the street. And this guy must have travelled those stairs 200 times, down and back up. So each time with a large bucket that's got those little handles. You can get them at Bunnings, these things that fold over at the top, big plastic. So it must have been at least 20, maybe 30 or 40 litres each bucket. I fill them up with the dingo. He picked them up, ran them down, tipped them where they've got to go. I was on a bank as well, over a weed mat, and just kept on going and going and going. And he spread it all out, raked it. It was perfect. And I said to him when he finished, I have a little bit of a YouTube channel, and I'm going to recommend you because, and I don't do it lightly, because what he did was absolutely fantastic. Worked like crazy. I stopped to have a bite for lunch. I said, you know, I'll come back up in another half an hour, we'll get started again. When I came back, he was shoveling the stuff, the mulch, into the buckets himself. He'd only stopped for about 10 minutes. Enough time for a quick drink. And he was doing it again. I said, well, you don't get people working like that anymore. I'm sorry to say. But this guy, I'll give you his phone number. You got a pen, or if you haven't got a pen, you can come back and watch this part again. But his phone number is, and I asked him about his phone number, and he said, yep, no problem. 0451 098 325. Travis, 0451 098 325. Give the guy a break. He's a young fella and he loves working hard. If you're in Sydney or in the Blue Mountains, he'd love to help you out. You do any kind of labouring. Oh, the dog's going to sleep. How good is that? All right. Now, the other side of the strop has a finer leather side, and I can give it a quick run, but I'm not going to. I'm I'm going to leave it like that for the moment, and I'm going to test this. Also, if you want to know what we're going to do next week, we're getting away from sharpening. Everyone's going, yeah! And I'm going to start building a quilting table for Vicky. Now, this thing's going to be 1 metre wide by 1.8 metres long. It's going to have a fold-out section that makes it another 700 millimetres long. So it's substantial. It's going to have drawers. It's going to have a bank of 6 drawers in it that are going to be around 2 inches deep, because you don't want deep drawers in this situation, all the small stuff. And what else? Sorry, I'm to a dog hole peg. I didn't quite get that, Ed. I'll need to read through that again a little bit later. It's going to have a top on it that's going to be slippery, because for the sewing machines, this is a special kind of a sewing machine that does embroidery and quilting. I have to recess the machine into the top so there's a nice flat surface to go all the way through. Has an area underneath for Vicky to sit at while she's doing stuff. I'll be using a piano hinge in this section that opens up. There's a whole lot of stuff in it, and I'm going to design it and possibly even get started. I've got the design mostly done, but I'll finish it, the design next week, and we'll start cutting it. It probably will take around 3 to 4 weeks of the show. I'll do little bits in between as I'm going along, but it's another interesting project. And after that, I'm thinking I might make a screen door, because it's summer here. It's just about to be summer in Australia, so I need to be able to open these doors up in the workshop. It'd be nice to have a screen door. I'm thinking about having a screen door that's only half height. I don't know, you know, there's all sorts of things that you can do with doors. I have to think about incorporating an area so the dog can get in and out through these screen doors as well. So it's a lot of ideas that I want to come up with. You're building that to get Vicky off your workbench. No, Wayne, she's still going to come down here and use this bench for pinning out and all that kind of stuff, because it's a good size. Now, Wayne, I need to apologize to you as well, because last week we were talking about these low angle blades and having the bevel up, and you were saying, and that's because it doesn't have a lever cap on the back or a backing iron, that be the chip breaker. And I said, no, well, it is. Yes, definitely, you're dead right. It is the chip breaker, all in one. So it functions as a few different things. All right, let's do a test. Now, remember, this is a 45-degree angle. This is a steep angle. Let's see if it works. Not great. Not great. Let's try it again. It's working. Just in the middle there, it's losing it a little bit. What about this way? Yeah, it works. It works. Where did you get the non-skid pad? I love that. This, give me a second, I'll show you. Now you can get this stuff at a supermarket. So I got black stuff and I got white. Now why I got white is because I'm going to use it as a draw liner for dark products that are going to sit on top of it, so it highlights the size. But there you go, that's it. So you walk into a supermarket, and this cost me, for that size, I think it was $9 Australian. So it's very, very handy, very handy. I have it in the cart here as well. I can't show you in that particular drawer at the moment because the drawer's shut and the bench is in the way and all that kind of stuff. Let's put the plane back together. Now remember, this doesn't have a frog. Conventional bench planes have a frog in the bottom. This thing is just basically, it's the top of the sole. So there's your sole underneath, and this is the body of the plane. The frog is basically built in. So there you go. For other people with this little guy here, there's your lever cap. Blade comes out with the backing iron on the back. See, it's got this little thing here. And the screw that locks the blade onto it. You notice the thinness of this blade in comparison to the one that I'm working on at the moment. Hence, this one doesn't really need a backing iron. So that goes there. This fellow here is the frog. Now, there's a couple of screws that hold it into the body or the sole of the plane, or the body. You've got an adjustment wheel here for the depth, and it activates this little guy here, either raises it up or down, depending on whether you want to push the blade out of the plane or bring it back to take a thinner shaving. This is your lateral adjustment. It has a little thing here that goes into this section. There, into that. So it's all working together. No, it's the other way around, David. Yeah. When it goes back in, see this section here? That's what this acts on. So that slot. So when I move this, see how it's moving the blade left and right. Okay. Oh, thank you, Wayne. I've been exonerated. The other thing is with these screws, as an apprentice, I thought this was the ideal screwdriver for undoing this. And I've done it many times. But now that I've met a few people that don't tolerate that kind of activity, I've stopped doing it. So I use a proper screwdriver to do that. All right, put this back in. Now this one is a bevel. This is a bevel down on this, where this blade for this guy is a bevel up. So he goes in with this side facing up. If I was to put it in like that, because it's such a low angle, you can see this part would be pushing on the timber and the blade's kept up in the air. It's not making any contact with the wood. So these low angles are always a bevel up, and standard bench planes like this little smoother, so that's basically all it is a little smoothing plane. It's going to be the other way, bevel down. So that's why it's always going to be a 45-degree in these kind of planes, because whatever the angle that frog is in relation to the rest of the body, that's the angle the blade's going to be cutting at. So it makes no difference. You can change the bevel on the back for a standard bench plane. It's going to make, it doesn't care. All right, pop that back in there. Don't have it so that when, see the screw here, don't make that too tight. The reason being, when you pull this little lever, you're exerting a lot of pressure on the back of the frog. And the Turners had an aluminium frog, and they were prone to bending. So I've just make sure that it's very careful. I think my woodwork teacher showed me to use the lever cap as the screwdriver. Oh yeah, Paul, we're bad boys. The other thing is, when you're flattening the foot or the sole of the plane, notice I'm pushing that direction. If I was to bring my hand back, I would cut myself on the blade. So when you're flattening it, make sure that you've got the lever cap and the blade in, but the blade is retracted so it's not protruding. That puts all the correct tensions in the body of the plane so that when you flatten it, it will be correct for when you've applied that pressure by pushing that lever down. Okay, very important. It's only tiny, 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 but it does make a difference. Also, you can put planes down on wood. I have these cushion strips on the bench here, so it's not making any contact with timber. But if you put it down on the MDF, it's really not going to hurt it. If you have the plane sitting sideways, you are running the risk of maybe picking something up and cutting your hand on the side, on the blade. So I hope that puts pay to a lot of people jumping up and down, getting upset about when you put a plane like that. I normally just put it down like that, and I've heard all of the people say, yes, you must put it down elevated. See, in Arthur's bench over here, there is a little strip of timber that all the planes sit on, which keeps them that keeps their blades off the timber as well. So Arthur probably would have a different idea to everything than I do. All right, let's put this other plane. Oh, I just tipped it over sideways. Let's put this other plane back together with the 45 degree in it. And hopefully I'm going to have to adjust also. There we go. I've switched the other camera on so you can see it a little bit closer. This one. Okay, a quick read. Same here, woodwork teacher. Yes, my teacher has never said that and I never will either. All right. There we go. There's, come right over here. We can see it from the side. That might work a little bit better. It's very dark in there, isn't it? It's too dark. Maybe if I bring this up. That might work a little bit better for us. That easier to see, guys? Now down here, I can move the plane backwards, the blade backwards and forwards a little bit. The important thing with this one is it's got a little slot here, and that has to engage with that, with the back of the depth adjustment wheel. So I'm dropping it in, and it's there, and I'm going to back it up and then take it back down until it's coming through. I'll feel it as it's hitting the timber. It's the resistance a little bit there, and that's going to do me at the moment. Then I'm going to put the lever cap on, and this particular one is just a screw fitting. It doesn't have that little lever. Drop that in, tighten that up, and now I'm going to sight down it. So I look down here to see if that blade is sticking proud, and it's not. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move this camera over here. Spin this around, sorry about that, to the bench. Drop this down and lift that up a touch. All right, I've got a bit of camphor there to go in the vise. And you can see she's had it. All right, about there. Now the grain on this isn't too bad. It's rising up and it's falling off a little bit as we're going along as well. So I'm going to go this direction and see. It does make it a little awkward with the dog in the way. See how we go. To start, I'm going to just do a little bit like this. Nothing's happening. Nothing is coming out, which means I need to drop the blade down a little bit more. So with this one, I have to just back it off a touch and tighten that up. Nothing. Back it off. Tighten it again. Turn that around. It's just taking a tiny bit off here and there. See that? I'm going to have the sight against a white surface is good. And I've adjusted down a little bit more, and you can see I've pushed the blade over that way as far as I can, just to get it. It appears to be straighter there. Let's have another go. Yep, that's good. Whoop, that's not good. I need to put a dog in there, or maybe just a quick clamp. I'll put a clamp in there. Give me a sec. Arthur has built things in. She's followed me. You see that? As soon as I moved, she ran after me. Oh dear. Sorry, baby. She was Vicky's dog. All right, here we go. Maybe if I put the jointer fence on as well. For people that haven't seen the show before, this is a jointer fence. It's got a couple of rare earth magnets there and there, and a pin here that I can move to different points, so it can work left hand or right hand. This captures itself on the body here. it's like a wedge, it locks onto it, and I can put it on the other side by moving the pin from there over to here. So I'll pop it on here to start, and you can see where it is, and I'm going to push it down until that engages right there. Okay, now that's square. Now that the dog's moved, it's going to make it easier for me to do stuff. Now, why did I wake her up? So this is using a low angle jack as a standard angle plane. I guess I should have explained that right at the beginning. If you could smell this, look how nice they are. This is camphor laurel, and doesn't it smell beautiful? Actually, I'm going to see if I can get that around the other side a little bit, so you can see the shaving, see the hand motion that I've got here. Now, rather than holding on to the knob like so on the top, I'm holding on to the fence and pushing down on the knob as well at the front. And it just stops it rocking around. So I'm referencing off the face. Look at that. Beautiful. All right. So that's job well done. Job well done. That's gone. I'm happy with that. Yes. Yeah. Correct, Mike. Well, you put your plane on the timber you're about to work on. Correct. Brian, pleasure. Let me see. You put your plane on the timber you're about to work on. Yes, I did. The reason, I'm trying to think of why you said that, and I'm guessing it's because the blade is actually contacting the timber. So exactly right. It's not going to worry the blade. I put it on its side then because it's got the fence on it. So they're a snazzy thing. If you can get a hold of one of these fences, they're fantastic. How are we doing for time? 12 o'clock. You know what? That might do us for today. Thank you very much to everyone for watching, and I'm hoping that you can watch Cole's live stream as well. Cole is obviously from Gifkin's Jig. I'm going to have the Patreon chat. If you want to join in, things like that, you follow the link in the description box at the bottom for Patreon, become a patron, and there's links in there. There's this thing, you keep on sliding down through the links and you'll see, once you've got into Patreon, there'll be a thing, Zoom meeting, and you click on that link and it'll bring you in and you can join in the chat with myself and the other guys that do it as well. Hey Dave, you're the new Joe the Gadget Man who's in full of gadget out. One day, it's finite. I'm telling you, one day there won't be any gadgets left for me and I'll be kind of standing here and looking around the room, just going, oh, I don't know what else to talk about. This plane as well, this looks beautiful. Watch this, watch this, watch this. I'm hoping I've got it set correct. There you go. For old wooden trying plane, it does a magic job. It's a beautiful plane. You know, and it's a bond with my history as well, like with these guys here. Not only Arthur was a cabinet maker, but his dad also, because they made all their own tools back then. Love it. All right, thanks for watching and look after yourselves. I'll put the specs back on and come down to this one. Be nice to each other, and I shall see you next week with the build for Vicky's quilting table.